Okay, Airsoft, today I'm going to try my best to explain how to convert your TAC-41 into an HPA rifle using the Mancraft HPA conversion kit. I'll put a link to it in the description. So I'm trying to do this without taking apart my rifle completely because I have some things taped up and you'll see why. So what I've done so far, which if you own a TAC-41, you should know how to do this. Pretend like these things were together already, and in the bottom there's just 2 screws, and I was able to take out those 2 screws and pull the upper away from the lower. Okay, normally when you're doing this install you will also remove this barrel, which involves these 3 screws here and some here as well to loosen up your hop up and whatnot. That's all in the manual. You can find videos online about that, but you will need to remove your barrel just as if you were changing the spring inside the bolt sleeve. This is the bolt right here, and the sleeve goes in here. When you take all this out, normally this bolt just can come out completely out the back, and then you unscrew the tip of it and you pull out the piston and the spring behind it and all that stuff. So the difference is now you don't do that. You're going to remove all that stuff in the beginning. You'll want to take the piston out of it, take the springs out of it, everything. Pretend that you have removed the bolt piston tube, you've taken the piston out, you've taken the springs out. What you'll see is that in the bottom part of it here, there's a hole already. And you know, to get a better view at this, I'm going to take this trigger piece off, the trigger group. You will need to do this anyways for your install. Thankfully, once you do this, you really shouldn't have to do it again. Maybe if you played severely with it and then you needed to lube up some of the parts, but as a bolt action, you're not shooting anywhere near as much, so it shouldn't be as needed. And like I said, this will remove the trigger group. Just this right here, set that aside. Okay, let's see, what's the best angle to look at this? I'm gonna flip it back over. All right, so let's look in here. The hole where this copper rod is going through, that leads directly into the bottom of your piston chamber, or this bolt, okay? So the new Mancraft unit, let's pretend this is it. This is not it, but let's pretend this is it, and this is the front, and this is the back. In the back of it, there is this tube coming out of the back of it, okay? This is your airline, all right? So at the end of the airline, mine is going into the stock already and then comes out back there. You will want to feed your airline first into the front of the bolt carrier group, which is the, once again, I think we're calling it the piston chamber. You're going to feed, so put this in just like it is in now, and then you're going to feed the airline first, and it will eventually push out through the bottom of it, okay? And then you will push it. This copper rod will not be here yet. It will just, you'll push the line straight out through this hole here. And once it's there, grab it and pull it out so you got some slack. Then normal install, you take that tube, you take this copper rod, and it's a normal copper rod like this, it's hollow, and you stick this airline through the top of it, and then it will literally come out the bottom right here and go straight down and end up coming right out of your, this is right here. It will come right out of the bottom here, and then the airline will be right there by your finger. But I don't like that. A lot of people don't like that because it gets in the way of your trigger finger. So what we have done, First of all, that copper rod replaces this piece. This is what you thread your removal tool that it comes with that's hidden inside the stock here. You thread it in there, pull that thing out, and that allows you to pull the bolt group all the way out and change your spring and stuff, okay? This piece will not be used anymore. You pull it out completely and you replace it with the copper piece, all right? So what we have done, I took this copper piece, and I'm gonna try to get a better view of it here. I took this copper piece, put it in a vise, and drilled a hole. You can see this far up from the bottom. It's about 1 inch or so. What I did, I stuck it in there all the way and I marked it so I knew where it would be with a black Sharpie, and I drilled a hole straight through it, and then I took a little file, or you could use a Dremel tool, and I just kind of cleaned up the edges so it wasn't sharp. This is very soft copper, so it does file very easily to make it not sharp, or deburr it so that it won't affect your line. So instead of the line coming straight through and out the bottom through your trigger group, it comes out this way, okay? And the reason why we did that is because, let me take this thing off here, because we wanted to go through our stock. So you can take off this piece here. This is just a plastic piece that comes right out, and you'll see better. And then I drilled a hole down through the receiver. And if you look at the bottom over here, you can see where I put it. It just went straight through the wall there, and I pushed the line. Once I got this through, I did use some pliers, or you could use even just a tool like this. Stick it in there to help guide the black air line as it's coming out, and you just feed it through, put the copper rod back in after you fed it through, and then guide this through the hole that you drilled down at the bottom, and then you can do whatever you want with it. I wrapped mine around and then I taped it right here, okay? And then you cap the end with this piece here. It's just a quick attachment that I've covered up. It's under there. So it's just initially just the hose end, and then it's a push fitting, so you push this on the top of it. But that's what we've did. This is the most important part here, to get that line away from your trigger, as the initial installation means. So once again, you just drill that there, stick it up, comes out the side, goes down through the one little hole that you drilled through this area, and then feed it around. And it's actually pretty simple. I will mention the lever throw is much shorter. I saw somewhere someone said it didn't change at all, but it does definitely change it. It's lighter, and look at this. That's it right there. That's as far back as it goes, where before it would come all the way back here, you know, about like this. But that's it. It's just a short pull like that. Okay? And since it's HPA, you can adjust your PSI to get that, whatever your field limit is. Mine was 550. So you can achieve it for sure. Where to get 550 before, I had to put in a ridiculous spring that it was just insane cracking that thing back. But that's really it right there. And then as you're going to set this thing down, you do have to feed it through. So I'm going to, I have to pull it out from the bottom here as you set it back down. Of course, that will be after you put the trigger group back on. Put the trigger group back on. I bring it around this side. This is the trigger that normally, if the safety's there, it blocks it. But bring it around this side like that. Just like that. Bring this around this way. Then you'll put your screws back in on both sides and put it back in. So as you're putting it back in, you want to make sure that line doesn't get pinched. So pull it through like that. Your trigger goes right back in there. And then you put those screws back in like that. I will try my best to answer any comments y'all leave or questions about this, or send diagrams if I need to, or post them uh, in our discussion area of the channel. But feel free to ask any questions you want. It has been an amazing sniper rifle. Like I said, with the other upgrades, the Chub Nub and the Medusa hop-up adjustment that creates a nice vertical adjustment. Anyways, I hope this helps, and just let me know if you have any questions.